straight away here.
Jalen Johnson play time?
I don't know. We'll see.
How do you manage bringing somebody back and you're going to have 2 games in 5 days? And that seems like a heavy lift.
Yeah. Like I said all along, we're gonna be really smart with all these guys that are um, out there. We got guys returning in the near future here, and guys with that are playing on Sunday. We know it's gonna be a quick turnaround. So everybody in the league deals with this. Fortunately for us, it's a 5-day span. Most teams have to deal with a 4-day span. So we're fortunate from that regard, and we're conscious of it. We've been very smart this week. We've scaled back the volume a little bit, just with that in mind, out on the practice field while still getting the work in. So hopefully that'll help out.
And since you got here, you haven't seen Jalen on the field very much at all. What do you look for as you're trying to get acclimated to what he brings? Obviously, you know him from the past, but what are you eyeing up?
Well, he's getting a lot of competitive reps over the course of this week, and so I notice a sticky player. He's all over our receivers, whether he's on taking defensive reps or show team reps. He's getting a little bit of both, just to make sure we're getting that volume to where it needs to be. And so it's good versus good a lot of times, and yet he's able to stay pretty close and pretty tight. Good change of direction. He's been able to open it up and have some long speed as well. So those are the things that I'm looking at right now.
Coach Neil Reynolds from Sky Sports in the UK. If I could ask a couple of questions and get out of the way.
Sure.
The impact of the close games, winning those close games, what does that do to the players and the locker room?
Yeah, I mean that's been a huge part of our season so far. Where late in the game there that we've been able to pull it out at the end, and I think it speaks volumes about how they're wired mentally. We know we're not out of it every minute within that 60 minutes is really important for us. And I think what's come to fruition is just the fact that these are a bunch of mentally tough guys, and they kind of step up to the plate when the pressure's on. So I think that's what we've seen so far.
And then 10 games in with Caleb Williams, what do you see from a strength point of view? What excites you as a coach working with him?
Well, I see improvement, and I think that's what excites you about any players is you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And I see a guy that is getting significantly better every week, whether the stats look that way or not. From a coach's lens, I think we feel it. The approach is very sound with what he's doing right now, day in and day out. I mean, it's very difficult to be consistent in this league with how you go about your business. And yet I think he's done a really nice job of taking a lot of information and being able to apply it in a short amount of time. And so that's the starting point to me with him. I think we're going to continue to see him play faster, play with more anticipation. The more he gets reps with these particular plays, that the ones that we feature the most. And so I'm very pleased right now with where he's at.
Declan said yesterday that this is why we threw everything at Caleb training camp, is because we learned how he processes it. Now you see kind of the fruits of that.
Yeah.
Is that when did you start seeing the fruits of that?
Whew. I think once we got into these game weeks, maybe not those first 4, but once he really understood what this was going to look like from a installation standpoint, to a walkthrough, to a practice, to a next day clean it up, I think he's really grown in that regard. And it's not just him; it's all these guys. We've applied a lot of pressure throughout the spring and throughout training camp, really with this in mind, to where when they get out there on game day, that everything hopefully slows down a little bit, and they don't have a coach yelling in their ear anymore. They can just go out there and play free. And so I think we're reaping the rewards from that right now.
And everything you do offensively centers around having a running game that you can depend on. What are the origins of that for you when you go back to starting your offensive philosophy and understanding that was absolutely not negotiable?
Well, I think you do what your players do well, and we happen to have some really good guys up front. I think that was the vision for we play. I think it starts here. It's Ryan and myself having an aligned vision of what we want the football team to look like. And then I think when you're in this particular division, you're playing outside. It's called the black and blue division for a reason. What these opponents are going to look like. Yeah, I think it's important to have a strong running game so that we can win these games potentially in poor weather late in the season. And so I do think that was kind of the vision of us acquiring Joe Tooney and Jonah and Drew and bringing those guys into the fold. Just if we need to lean into the run, then we have that ability. At the same time, we've got the flexibility to pivot, and if we need to throw the ball 50 times a game or win the game in a 2 minute or in third down, then we've got the playmakers to do that as well. So I think that's what makes us really dangerous, is we have all those options on the table each and every week.
To be where you are now, coming out of the bye, you wanted to get that run game going. You're second of the league now. What is the, I guess, the assessment of that path? I guess.
Yeah, I thought there would be some growing pains, and there were. You know, it takes a while for some guys to gel up front. You're asking a few of them to do some things that they maybe haven't done quite that way before. Um, I think Dan Roshar, Kyle Devan, I keep bringing their names up, and I think they're really the driving force behind it. You see them, it's not sexy when you watch their individual periods, but it's constant over and over and over again. How are we going to fit these players, the pads? And I think you keep doing it, you buy in, and you start seeing the success come from it. So yeah, I think it's been a huge part of what we're doing right now.
And sticking to the run game, when you have a game or a start of a game like you did in Minnesota where their defense is getting some stops early on you, what is a play caller allows you to stick to the run game and not just kind of abandon it early if it's not working? That faith that like eventually we'll get it.
Yeah, it took us a minute to settle in and see how they were going to call their game. That was probably that particular sequence right there. But I know that the longer you hang on and stick with that run game, eventually you're going to start popping them. I've got confidence in our group. I got confidence in the plan that we put together, and I know that the longer we go, that eventually we can start to wear down defenses that way. The game doesn't always go that way. We'll do whatever we need to do to score points and win there at the end. But certainly that does come to mind. Is we don't want to get too far away from that.
Did you play Madden growing up?
Madden,
Yeah.
occasionally.
Were you a thrower or a runner? What was your team?
Shoot, I always like taking the bad teams and make the franchise mode and try to build them up from there. But more of a thrower, yeah.
There's a metaphor in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, there's got to be.
Ben, as you guys have had these wins and stacked these victories up, I know so much you try to live in the building or block out those. Have you had a chance to appreciate kind of the way that the city is responding to this team and enjoying the early success here?
Yeah, I think Kevin Byard said it best earlier in the week, where I think he said it to the media. I know he said it to the team that it's easy to forget what happens in September and October really quickly. So we've put ourselves in a good spot right now, but really the season is just now starting as far as we're concerned. So yeah, we do block out the outside noise. I don't get out of the building a whole lot, so I don't feel it anyways myself. But I'm happy for where the guys have been able to situate themselves. 7-3 it's a good start, but like I said, we're only going to remember how this thing ends, not how it started.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.